Testament base, you have to have 30 days before Rosh HaShana that you're not allowed to plant. So the Gemara says, we said before that you have to have 30 days beforehand of Rosh HaShana, and then it's considered already a year, and you start counting the next year from Rosh HaShana. But you have to have at least 30 days. The Meir holds 1 day in a year is already considered a year. So even if you have 1 day of the year before and then comes Rosh HaShana, it should be enough. So Meir Omar, he says, 1 day in a year is considered a year. Tanya, where do we see that? Par Omar b'Torah stam. Anytime it says the word par in the Torah, an ox, ben esrim v'abah chodesh v'yam echad. It means 24 months and 1 day, divrei Meir. And the reason is because a par really has to be 3 years old. So if you have 24 months passed and 1 day, you start in the 3rd year already, so it's already considered 3 years old. So you see the Meir holds that 1 day of a year is already considered a year, and it's already considered the par is already 3 years old. The Brisa continues, ben esrim v'abah chodesh v'lamed yom. You have to have 24 months and 30 days. Because he holds you have to have 30 days in order for it to be considered a year. 1 day is not enough for a year. May would say, anytime it says the word egel, which means a calf b'Torah, stam, without any explanation, ben shana, means 1 year old. Ben bakar, when it says ben bakar in the Torah, ben shtayim, it means 2 years old. Par, when it says the word par in the Torah, ben shalosh, it means 3 years old. So you see from over here, according to Rav Meir, that 1 day already in the year is considered a year. So if you have 2 years that passed, an extra day, now it's considered 3 years. So the same thing, if you plant 1 day before Rosh HaShana, and then comes Rosh HaShana, it's considered already the 2nd year. So the Gemara answers no. Full time with Rav Meir. Kikam with Rav Meir. When did Rav Meir say Yem Echad b'Shana Chashav Shana? When did Rav Meir say 1 day in a year is considered a year already? B'Soif Shana. Only at the end of the year, at the end of the counting. It means the beginning of the year, but the end of the counting. Meaning you start counting 1 year, 2 years, you're starting the next year, it's already 1 day is enough. When you're starting to count the years, for example, by us, in the Gemara where you have 1 day, and then Rosh Hashanah comes, so you want it to be considered already the 2nd year, loy amar, loy. He didn't say his halacha. So now we're going back. When the Gemara says you have to have 30 days in the year beforehand in order to start counting Arla, the Gemara means, even according to the Meir, because the Meir will agree that when you start counting, you have to have 30 days in order for it to be considered a year, not 1 day. When you're finishing the counting, and you counted 2 years, and you want to go into the 3rd year, 1 day is enough. But for the beginning, not. Amar Rava, Rava has a question. We see the opposite. Rabbi is going to prove to us just the opposite. That in the beginning, you need only 1 day. At the end, you'll need more. What's the Kal V'Chomer? Oman nida she'ein tchilas hayayim oilala. B'seifa, seifa hayayim oilala b'tchila. What does that mean? A nida, min ha-Torah, a lady becomes a nida, the first time she sees dam, she's a nida for 7 days. And it doesn't make a difference whether she saw dam, she didn't see dam. She becomes tahar right after the 7 days, and she can be Faivel at night, and she's fine. That's a nida. What we do today is called a zava. After she's 7 days passed, and she sees 1 day, a 2nd day, and a 3rd day, she becomes a zava Gedalia, and then she has to count shiva nikiyim. She has to count 7 clean days in order to go Faivel. And today, Rashi has all the Rivke to explain it why, but today, every time a lady sees dam, we're always noyig that she's like a Zava Gedalia. Not a Nida, a Zava Gedalia, and that's why we have to always count 7 Shiva Nikiyim. Because she's always considered a Zava Gedalia. So, but when she becomes a Nida, she counts 7 days. It doesn't help in the end. B'Seifa here means when she's finished counting, and she's counting Shiva Nikiyim, you can't count half a days. Which is Zava Gedalia, she saw dam 1 day, let's say on Tuesday, she finished seeing Tuesday afternoon, you can't count Tuesday as part of your counting for 7 days of Shiva Nikim. You have to wait till night, and then you could start counting Shiva Nikim. So B'Sefer means at the end, when she's counting the Shiva Nikim, you don't count half a days. You'll need a full day. She has to start her first day that's clean, has to be a full day. That's B'Sefer. But Chila, when she becomes a Nida Daraisa, and for 7 days she's Tameh, and then she becomes Tahira, then the halach is, if she sees Dam on Tuesday, she starts counting the first day already, Tuesday. 7 days later, which will be Monday night, she's already Tahira. So you see by a Nida, Ma Nida she'ein Tchilas hayom oila b'Sefer, the beginning of the day doesn't help her at the end. Starting the counting, at the end you have to have a full day. Seif hayom, the end of the day, in the beginning of counting, you need less. You can use only part of the day. By Shana, by the years, so you see by Nida the opposite. By Nida you see at the end of the counting, you have to have full days. In the beginning of the counting, you can have half a day. Ramey, we want to say in Ramey just the opposite before. That at the end of the counting, 1 day is enough to be considered a year. In the beginning of the counting, you have to have more. You have to have 30 days. Says Rav, it's a Chaim. By a Nida, we see the opposite. The end is more Chomer than the beginning. At the end, you have to have a full day. In the beginning, you don't have to have a full day. So Shana, by the years, so Yev Echad Oyla B'Seifa, Rameya says at the end, when you're counting the years of a par, 2 years and a day is enough. Yev Echad Oyla B'Seifa, Ein Din Yev Echad Oyla B'Tchila, is not Kal V'Chomer that in the beginning 1 day should be enough. So says the Gemara, you're right. So it can't be Rameya. If Rameya holds at the end 1 day is enough, he'll hold in the beginning also 1 day is enough. So by our law, when you're counting 3 years, 1 day would be enough. Ve'elamai, says the Gemara, so who is it going to be like? Who is the Braitza before that said 30 days you need before Rosh HaShana to be considered a year? For our law, who is it? Ve'elamai, Rabbi Eliezer, you want to say it's Rabbi Eliezer? Shloishim v'shloishim boy. You'll have to have 30 and 30 days, meaning you'll have to have 60 days. Why? The Tanakh we learned in the Mishnah. Ein noitin ve'ein mavrichin ve'ein markivin erev shvius pachas melamed yom l'fnei Rosh HaShana. You're not allowed to plant, you're not allowed to graft. Markivin, one is grafting and one is putting a tree back into the ground. Not grafting 2 trees together. So you're not allowed to do any of those things l'fnei Rosh HaShana. 30 days before Rosh HaShana, you're not allowed to plant anything, you're not allowed to graft anything. V'imnota v'hivriach v'hirchiv Yaakov. But if you did, and you planted within 30 days before Rosh HaShana, you have to get rid of it. You have to be oiked, you have to uproot it and get rid of it. Because you are planting Erev Shvius. We saw before that b'moiseh b'chol al chodesh, you have to have 30 days beforehand. So if you do it within 30 days, you have to be oiked, you have to get rid of it. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer kol hakava she'ein chaletes b'gimel yamim she'vein chaletes. Rabbi Yehuda says 3 days it takes for it to root. It's colored within 3 days. If it's past 3 days and it didn't root, so then it won't take root anymore. So Rabbi Yehuda holds if you did it before 3 days before Rosh HaShana, it's not a problem of a Shvius because it won't take root till it took root already before Rosh HaShana. Rabbi Yisrael, Rabbi Shimon Omer, Shnei Shabbos. So you have to have 2 weeks before Rosh HaShana to make sure that it didn't take root before Rosh HaShana. So there's 3 sheetas how long it takes to take root. Either 30 days, 3 days, or 2 weeks. But everyone agrees it has to have taken root before Rosh HaShana. Because if it takes root after Rosh HaShana, then it's already planted in Shvius. The one that says it takes 30 days, you don't plant 30 days before Rosh HaShana, because we said before you have to have 30 days to moisim b'chalal chodesh. You have to add on to Rosh HaShana 30 days. Add on to the year, 30 days before Shavuos. So if you planted it 30 days beforehand, it may take root, let's say Erev Rosh HaShana. But it's not good enough. Because you have to be moisim b'chalal chodesh, you have to have 30 days beforehand that already took root. So he says the machlokes is, everything is till 30 days before. 30 days before it has to be taken root, because the moisim b'chalal kodesh. So Divri Eimer Lamed, Tzarech Lamed V'Shleishim, you have to have 30 and 30. The Divri Eimer Shleisha, it takes 3 days to take root. Tzarech Shleisha V'Shleishim, you have to have 3 days to take root, and it has to be 30 days before Rosh HaShana. The Divrei Eimer Beis Shabbosais, the one who says you have to have 2 weeks for it to take root. Tzarech Shtei Shabbosais V'Shleishim Yom. You have to have 2 weeks and 30 days. So everyone agrees 30 days before Rosh Hashanah. It has to have taken root already, because that's my Sifim Mechal Al Kodesh. How about how long does it take root? That's the Machlokes in the Brisa. So getting back to who holds before 30 days before Rosh Hashanah you're allowed to plant, it's nobody in the Brisa, because everyone holds you have to have 30 days of Masif Malchal Kodesh, and plus either 3 days or 2 weeks or 30 days beforehand for it to take root. So it's nobody. Even if it's like Rabbi Yehuda, Gimel v'Shleishim boy, you have to have 3 and 30, and the Brisa says 30 is enough. Eloilam Remeya. We're going back to the Brisa beforehand. There's Remeya. When it says in the Brisa 30 days, so we're going back to the Remeya. Remeya holds 1 day in a year is enough to be Moshe Michal Al Kodesh. You don't have to have 30 days. 1 day is enough. So the Brisa beforehand is Rav Meir. It says 30 days. We said the Meir holds 1 day is enough for a year. Torah says Anachami. 1 day is enough. But it takes 30 days for it to take root. So you have to plant the 30 days beforehand that you have taken root before Rosh Hashanah. 1 day before Rosh Hashanah. But the obvious question is that you need 31 days. It takes 30 days to take root. If so, Lamed Aleph Boy, you have to have 31 days. How's 30 days enough? Says the Gemara, Savari hold Yom Lamed Oida Lukan Lukan. The 30th day goes for both. That means it takes 30 days to take root. In the 30th day it took root already. For sure by the 30th day it took root. Now you have that day, the rest of that day, I'll consider it to be Tesefes Mechol Al Kodesh. So getting back to the Brisa before, it says 30 days before Rosh Hashanah you're allowed to plant. The only one it could be is a May who holds 1 day in a year is considered a year. Why? Because that's Tesefes Mechol Al Kodesh, that 1 day. 30 days before it is for taking root. Therefore the Brisa is a Meya. According to everybody else, you'll have to have much more than 30 days. Either 30 days and 2 weeks, or 30 days plus another 30 days, because they hold 30 days you have to have for Tesefes Mechal Al Kodesh. Rabbi Yochanan, V'shneim Mikra Echad Darshu. And both of them hold of one, Rosh Hashanah and Rabbi Elazar, who hold whether it's a day or 30 days, they dash in the same pasuk. It says in the pasuk, "Vahi ba'achad l'sheish me'yashana b'rishon be'echad l'chodesh." It was 601 years. B'rishon, the first month be'echad l'chodesh. The Mabul, yeah. Remeya Sava midakati yem echadhu the ayel b'shana v'kar l'shana shma mino yem echad b'shana chas b'shana. Since it's only 1 day into the year, and it's considered a year already, 1 day is considered a year. If it would say 601 years, like you said, 1 day, the 600th year, the years was 600 years. I don't call it 601 years. The Machlokes here is, am I calling it 601 years or 600 years and 1 day? Is it 601 years or not? It's the beginning of 1 year, but not that it's considered a year already. Doesn't mean 601 years. 601 years and 1 day into the next year. But it's not considered a year yet. So I'm going to have to stop here.
Go ahead.